So we had bingo on Friday night. Second time since I've been here that we've done bingo. And bingo is becoming our jam. We have more fun at bingo than is almost legally allowed. And we got a note, we got an email from someone who was there for the very first time to our ministry, and I just want to read what they had to say. We're new to Naples and decided to go to Unity to play bingo last night. Well, we had the best time, all capital letters. The people were so inviting and friendly. Everything was organized. The prices were very fair. Lots of treats. But the best part were the laughs. We really had a wonderful time. We've already marked our calendars for next month. Unity, you should be very proud of yourself by showing what a loving community of folks you truly are. Thank you. Isn't that fabulous? Renee, Sharon, is Sharon in the room? Where's Sharon? Come on, Sharon, stand up. Renee, stand up. And then all the volunteers, please stand up. A big shout out. It was a fabulous night, ladies. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Come on, there we go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you have a good heart, you can come to bingo. You might even make a little scratch for the way home, right? All right, here we go. Ready? So in the 80s and 90s, people spent a lot of time searching and trying to understand their purpose. Did you ever do that? Did you spend a lot of time and effort trying to understand your purpose and why you were here? And we had this belief that each one of us had a unique purpose and we had to find it. And somehow our life wouldn't be fully complete if we didn't find our purpose and live our purpose. And that sometimes we had people that were just very upset that they couldn't find their purpose. They weren't sure what their purpose was, and they had to know what their purpose was about. So the question that I have for us today, have you found your purpose? We got 6 of us. 6 of us have found our purpose. Fantastic, right? Now the deeper question is, do you believe that your purpose is to do or to be? So if you believe that your purpose is to do, then you're about saving the world or saving the sharks or saving the unicorns. You were a little late for that, but, right? But if you believe that your purpose is to be, then you believe just showing up as the greatest version of you is your purpose. And how many of you want to vote for kind of a combination of both? Right? And what I want to talk today about is clarity. And my title is The Clarity of Purpose. And clarity is power. I want to say that again. Clarity is power. The clearer I am, the more powerful I am. When I walk in the fog of my life, it is not the most powerful version of me. If I hear myself over and over again saying that I don't know, Houston, we have a problem. And what I want to talk today about is what would it take for you to be absolutely clear about you and why you're here. If somebody asks you what you want from life, is your answer, I don't know? If it is, I think we have a problem. If somebody asks you about the values that you live in your life and you say, I'm not sure, I think we have a problem. That as I have matured, life is increasingly about being who I am more than doing what I feel like I need to do. Still, there are times when I'm actually called to do things and get things done. But as I know who I am, as I remember who I am, as I live who I am, doing those things becomes much easier. Because I don't believe the doing is going to justify who I am. Many of us were raised in environments thinking that if I finally do all the right things, then I will finally be enough. And I want you to clearly hear me say today that who you are is greater than anything that you will ever do, because you were created in the image and likeness of God. And your greatness is your gift. Now, in pursuit of clarity, there are two questions that I think are incredibly important. The first one is, what am I feeling? And the second one is, what do I want? Now, you think we would always know those things. Have you ever had an experience and it took you a week to figure out how you felt about that experience? And sometimes life kind of throws a screwball at us. And we're not always sure of what we're feeling. And because many of us were raised that it didn't matter what we were feeling. Nobody cared what we were feeling. Nobody asked us what we were feeling. Nobody wanted to know what we were feeling. So we stopped asking ourselves the question, what am I feeling? And yet I want you to see this morning that you understanding what you're feeling is fundamentally important in your being the best version of you. If you don't know what you're feeling, there is a problem. There is a disconnect. That your heart and your soul use your feelings to let you know when you are on track and when you're off track, when you're in the weeds. And if we deny our feelings, if we go unconscious to what we're feeling, it is not powerful. We are not being the greatest version of us. I need you to know what you're feeling. I think it's okay to ask yourself that question about 100 times a day. Now, you don't have to announce to the whole room all the time that you're having a feeling, because who's that information for? It's for you. It's for you to know what you're feeling. So what are you feeling? And then the next question is, and what do you want? Well, I don't know. I could never be God. All these people that don't know what they want would drive me nuts. It would be so annoying to be God and offer the kingdom to all of us and have some of us say, just however you want to do it, God's fine. Like, you were created in the image and likeness of God. You are actually being called to know what you're feeling and what you want, and to be a co-creator with God. To be a co-creator means that you actually have to know what you're feeling and what you want, and to be able to articulate it not only to yourself first, but also to be able to share that with other people who want to create with you. It's very hard to co-create with someone who has no clue what they want. If this is hard for you, I want you to go to the Cheesecake Factory. I do. I want you to go to the Cheesecake Factory, and I want you to sit there with 16 pages of a menu. Now, it's not the infinite, but it feels like the infinite. Amen? And then you have to order dessert afterwards, because then there's no 50 more cheesecakes that you're going to have to decide upon. And if you're there for more than 3 weeks, we have a problem. What am I feeling and what do I want? Let's say that together. What am I feeling and what do I want? I know that some of you were raised in environments where it just wasn't safe to have a feeling. Where people didn't care what you want. Where you were told just to shut up, be still, be quiet, go to your room. And what I want you to hear today is that you're a fully grown spiritual being. That the entire universe needs to know what you're feeling, what you want, so that you can create the life that you've dreamt of. and our unconsciousness is not helpful. It doesn't move us forward. The entire universe depends that each and every one of us, all of us, are consciously aware and co-creating with God the next version of our world. But if you don't know, you're actually out of the game. You're not being helpful. You're not moving the planet forward because you don't know. You're hoping that everyone around you does their part so that you don't have to co-create the universe. So the question over and over becomes, what are you feeling and what do you want? And I want you to be quietly asking yourself that question over and over again until you become laser clear with your own inner workings, till you know yourself intimately well. Because as you ask that question, what am I feeling? You realize that there are layers of feelings. That we have the superficial feeling that we're all living on the top, but we have layers upon layers, and underneath that feeling, and underneath that feeling, and underneath that feeling. And the deeper we dive into our feeling, the deeper we move into God. It's the same with our desires. That our desires tend to be very superficial at the top. But as we dive deeper and deeper into our desires, we get to the desire that all we desire is God. All I want is more God. All I want is more peace. The Greek philosopher Socrates is reported as saying, "Know thyself." Know thyself. It was printed or stenciled. It was carved into the temple at Delphi. Know thyself. As the fundamental principle of living a righteous life required that we know thyself. And what I want you to see is that however you were raised and whatever you have gone through, whatever your life to this point has been about, how much it didn't matter to others what you were thinking or what you were feeling or what you want, it matters to God, and it should matter to you that you actually know what you're feeling and what you want from moment to moment to moment, because when you know what you're feeling and what you want, you can actually create the best version of you. And notice when your feelings are confused. Like that you have so many feelings going on within you that you can't even sort them out yet. That it's actually worth your time and your attention to sort out those feelings, and so that you can become more and more aware of you. And notice what you want to create. That sometimes our greatest desire to create is for somebody else to change. What do you want? I want that person to be different. How many of you have ever had a desire for somebody else to be different? How'd that work for you? Like, it doesn't work at all, right? And so what's the desire underneath that desire? Well, if they're not going to change, what do you want for you? Well, I want to find peace in the midst of their behavior. I want to find peace in the midst of their choices. The clarity is power. You know, we've been doing these series of talks, right, on the spiritual toolbox. And the first week we talked about expansion, and then Reverend Eileen did the second week. She talked about being the positivity. Then last week I talked about reinvention. And today I want to talk about clarity, because it's the tool that empowers us to live our best spiritual life. So I want you to close your eyes for a minute. And I seriously want you to ask yourself two questions. What are you feeling? And what do you want? Is there a feeling underneath that feeling? And a desire underneath that desire? And can you go even deeper? What are you feeling? And what do you want? And could you actually believe that that desire is holy and God-given? That when you get to the deepest level of your feelings and your desires, God's right there. All right, open your eyes. How many of you could actually name at least one feeling you're having right now? Can you name them? How many of you were aware that you have a desire? Right? How many of you were that desire could actually be fun, that you could actually create that desire? See, last week I talked about the time of the greatest change in my life. And at the time of the greatest change in my life, there were 3 things that I held on to. And those 3 things I did not know how to create. But they became the focus of my future life. And those 3 things were I wanted to be happy, free, and wildly in love. Now, it might sound crazy to say I didn't know how to create those 3 things, but I didn't. I mean, I took a stab at them, but it was always very hit and miss. And when I went through the greatest change in my life, I held on to those 3 things so tightly to my soul that I would not ever let them go. I didn't know how to live them, but I was committed. I knew that I was going to be happy, free, and wildly in love, and I was so committed to that I was praying about it every day. I asked God for help every day. God, show me how to live happy, free, and wildly in love. That I was hungry for it. I wanted that great of a life where I could be happy, free, and wildly in love, and I came back to it over and over and over again. So if you asked yourself, if you could pick 3 qualities for the rest of your life, or at least for this phase of your life, what 3 qualities would you want to hold on to? What 3 qualities would be the thing that would be driving your life forward? Anybody else want happiness? Anybody else want to be free? Anybody else want to be wildly in love? Now, if you've already attained those 3 things, God bless you. And maybe it's time for you to move on to the next thing. This week I came home, and on the door that leads to the garage, my wife had put a large sign, a yellow sign with big black letters that said, "Expect the best." I thought, you go, girl. Expect the best. And you know, in my spiritual arrogance, I thought, well, you know, I already just expect the best. Like, I'm already living that. And she said, just try it. So when we leave the house every day, we tap this sign that says, expect the best. And I actually know that in the last few days, my life has gotten at least 20% better. Because I was unaware of how many times that I was not expecting the best. That I was just going through the motions. I was just asleep. And the idea of hitting that sign every day as we leave the house, hitting the sign that says expect the best, and moving into that mind frame of expecting the best was transformative. It is transformative. That any time you get clear on what's important to you, your life gets better. Clarity is power. When we are unconscious, when we are in the fog, when we are afraid to know, when we're afraid to identify what we're feeling, when we want to walk in this ambiguous state of unconsciousness, we are not being the best version of us. But when we know, when we are clear, when we are laser clear, we are the most powerful version of us. So what are you feeling? And what do you want? In an infinite universe, right? You have to know. In an infinite universe where there are so many choices, there are infinite number of choices, you have to know what you want. It's like, Richard, it's too much. Don't make me work that hard. You're a fully grown man or woman of God. You were created in the image and likeness of the divine to co-create a universe that works for all what the heck do you want? What the heck do you want? If you could have anything, what the heck do you want? And what would it take for you to have the courage and the faith to be able to declare that to the universe, to your friends, to your family, to the people that love you, support you, believe in you, praying for you, so that you can declare what you want and allow the universe to recreate your life in a way that fully expresses that desire? What the heck do you want? Like, it's too much work. I'm just going to kind of lay here till I die. It's a choice. Like, if that's really what you want, you can lie there until you die. But here's the rule. If you're still here, you still have work to do. You're not done. You're not finished. You're not complete. So what are you feeling? And what do you want? And what if that becomes the key to the next version of your life? What are you feeling? What in your life have you outgrown? What in your life no longer serves you? What in your life no longer makes sense? And what in your life brings you life and love and joy and peace? And what in your life is moving you forward? I want more of that. I want more of that for you, for your family, and for the world. We've had enough upset. We've had enough confusion. We've had enough ignorance. What are you feeling? And what do you want? Will you pray with me? I invite you to open your mind, your heart, your soul to a different conversation, to a deeper conversation, to clarity and power. And to understand that your purpose is just to know. Your purpose is to know you intimately well. To know yourself intimately well. To know what you're feeling, to know what you want, and to be a voice for a world that's big enough for the world that you would love. In the name and through the power of the living Christ, we give thanks. And so it is. Amen. God bless you all. Have a great week. Thanks for being here.